Here's everything that happened in the finale of Avatar The Last Airbender, Episode 8, Legends. So immediately, Team Avatar is on the offensive. You see them jumping onto a Fire Nation Navy ship. They're wiping out troops. They are basically just trying to send the command center into like a fritz. And you see the ship exploding. They're rejoicing. They're taking out a ship. And you're like, wow, this is going to be easier to take out this fleet than maybe we thought. You see them jump back onto Appa. They're flying back up into the sky. And they're like, they're celebrating. Fanfares going off. That means celebratory music. They go into the sky above the clouds and they're like, how many more ships are there? And they pan out over the sea and there's like thousands. And you're like, wow, okay, not going to be as easy as they thought. So we're like, okay, not a good time to rejoice. So back to the drawing board, time for plan like B, C, and D, because this is not going to go over too easily. So at this point, the Fire Nation is not slowing down. All of their ships, the entire armada, is literally full speed ahead. They are literally gearing straight towards the Northern Water Tribe. But at the same time, Prince Zuko is on the attack. Like, he is literally planning to sneak his way into the Northern Water Tribe without being detected. So basically what he's doing is he's getting on a tiny little ship, and instead of going straight into the Northern Water Tribe, he's going basically all the way around, and he's going to go for like a dark cavern, and he's going to basically snorkel his way in basically through the back door and use his like little dragon's breath basically and like burn a hole through an ice cap so he can like sneak in basically. So at this point, there's like a full-on Fire Nation attack against the Northern Water Tribe, and it's literally Katara's time to shine. She wants responsibility. She wants a role. Like, she wants to be this water-bending baddie, right? So without her knowing, Paku, the master waterbender, sends over a bunch of his students who really aren't that great yet, and they come running over to her and they're like, hey, what do you want us to do? And she's like, what do you mean? And they're like, yeah, Paku sent us over. And she's like, for what? And they're like, to do whatever you want us to do. Like, tell us what to do, master. And she's like, let me tuck my hair braids behind my ear. All right, let's get this wall up. Let's get it defended. Let's do this. And like at this point, that wall that they talked about earlier that had been withstanding attacks for over 100 years is starting to fall. So they're starting to get a little bit worried. But like, what do you expect when an entire armada of fireball flinging warships are like literally at your front door? Now at this point, Commander Zhao has finally revealed his actual sinister plan, and that's to destroy the moon spirit. And if you're like, well, what's the big deal? Well, all benders draw their power from somewhere or something. So with water benders, if you take away the moon spirit, you're taking away basically their bending powers, because they need that balance. They need the balance of the push and the pull, the moon and the ocean. Like the yin and the yang, it's all about balance for them. So he knows that if he cuts off one of those spirits, there goes their water bending power. And he knows from his research that on that specific night, that moon spirit becomes an ice spirit, essentially, and it becomes a physical manifestation and turns into like a physical form. And what is that physical form? One of those fish that's swimming in a little pond. So at that moment, he's on his way to go make some sushi. But side note, there's like a super sad moment where there's like a bunch of rocks crumbling from the attack, and Momo, dear amazing little Momo, swoops in to protect this girl that like these rocks are falling on, and he literally like falls right underneath the rocks, and you like think he's dead for a second, but like he like saves the day and like saves this girl, and he's like basically about dead. And then Yue takes Momo to like that pond that I'm talking about where like the fish are swimming, which those fish are actually the moon spirit and the ocean spirit, which are like super important, of course. And like there's a reason that they're all meeting at that spot at that moment, foreshadowing. But she like revives Momo, and it's all great and stuff like that. But as soon as they revive Momo, they have to go hiding, because who shows up? Commander Zhao. So he shows up, and him and Iroh are looking for the moon spirit. And at the same time, Zuko pops up, and him and Katara are fighting. Aang shows up, and he has a little chit chat with the previous water avatar and gets some advice from him about stopping Zhao before he kills the moon spirit, and how that's going to throw off the entire balance of the world, basically. Then Zhao sees the fish and then realizes that, yep, that's the yin yang, that's the push pull, those are the moon and ocean spirits, and he's like, I'm gonna kill it. And Iroh, he's all about the spirits. He knows the power and the balance that they bring, and he's like, no, you're not gonna do that, because I will literally like F you up. He's like, try me. So what does Commander Zhao do? He kills the moon spirit, so the moon literally disappears, it crumbles, the whole, world goes dark, the waterbenders lose their power, the Fire Nation is just absolutely just slaughtering everyone, they are just burning everything down. Aang loses his mind, he's like, you know what? I'm going to take the advice of all the previous avatars I've talked to so far. He literally combines his avatar spirit and state with the ocean spirit that's left, and the ocean spirit's like, if I don't have my other half, like, game over. Like, I'm just gonna roam the earth, basically. And Princess Yue is like, don't do that. Like, you'll just, basically be lost forever with the spirit. You'll just roam forever. And he's like, it doesn't matter. We gotta save the world. So they combine, they turn this huge, like, water spirit creature, and they just start destroying all the ships and destroying everyone, like the bad people. And, like, that's great and all. But then Princess Yue figures out how she can bring life back to that moon spirit fish, because it was the moon spirit that brought her back to life, because when she was born, she was like super, super sick, and her dad took her to that pond and basically prayed for a way to bring her back to life. He was praying to the moon spirit, and the moon spirit gave her life. So she basically goes back into the pond with that fish, the moon spirit fish, and basically gave the life that she was given from the moon spirit back to the fish, brought life back to the fish by giving up her own life. So she died, but gave life back to that fish, and it restored balance, and the moon came back, and the waterbenders got their life back, and it was a good moment. But if you think that's how the episode ended, no, there's a couple more twists. We end this episode with King Boomy being captured. Omashu has officially fallen at the hands of none other than Azula. The siege of Ba Sing Se has officially started. And unfortunately, Firelord Ozai has learned about the return of Sozin's Comet, and you know what that means. Now, I'm super excited about season 2, so hopefully it gets renewed. I'm sure that it's going to, because we've all waited 19 years for this, live action remake, and I'm sure it's going to do very, very well. So I'm very, very excited about it. I think overall, there's a lot of things that was missing, but I think, as a whole, they did a phenomenal job bringing this to life, and I'm very, very excited about the series, and I'm very, very glad that they did this. But that is my recap of this final episode in this 8-part recap series of Avatar The Last Airbender. If you have not seen any of my previous recaps of the other 7 episodes, please check them out. They are all in a playlist on YouTube and TikTok. Thanks for watching.